Welcome to the Ion Annapolis Local Business Spotlight. There are thousands of locally owned businesses in the area, some small and some large. Some you may know and others you don't. But one thing they all have in common is a great story, and we want to share it with you. Join us every Saturday as we talk to the founders, the owners, and the managers of local businesses you have come to know and love, and those you will come to know and love. Now here's your host, John Frenay, with this week's Local Business Spotlight.
I don't think I've ever been in this building. I've been at Anne Arundel Community College for zillions of times, but I've never been in Ludlam Hall, which is the bigwigs all live here. And we're here with President of Anne Arundel Community College, Dr. Dawn Lindsay. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks so much for inviting me here. Probably the last time you will. I mean, after we're done this, you'll probably don't ever let him in here again.
I appreciate you coming to talk to me. Thank you.
Let me preface this by saying that throughout this, I may throw in a county in the name, Anne Arundel County Community College, because that always somehow rolls out of my tongue, but people always correct me, and it's Anne Arundel Community College.
Correct.
AACC, and there's way too many acronyms in my life with the AA on it. But, the first things first, I mean, we connected, actually, Monica, who is not a classmate of mine, but we're both in Leadership Anne Arundel, as you were. You were in the executive leadership. She said, well, what's this talk going to be all about? I said, the usual stuff, sex, drugs, and rock and roll. She says, well, you got one. And she says, and she can talk about rock and roll. And I said, okay, so now I'm intrigued. What is your favorite band?
Oh, my.
Or who do you think is the best band?
I like so many different kinds of music. I love Bonnie Raitt. I like Melissa Etheridge, not bands, but singers.
Okay, fine. That works.
In college, it was like AC/DC and the Rolling Stones. And I have to say, 3 or 4 years ago, I always wanted to see the Rolling Stones in one of their continuous final presentations. And they obviously are continuing to tour, but it was supposed to be one of their final tours. I treated myself. I thought, I'm going to go see the Stones because I want to, and I can at this point in time. So I saw them in Philly, and they did not at all disappoint me. Or I think it was just an incredible concert. It was good. But I love going down to Ram's Head. I love local music. I love local bands. I was excited to see the March 3rd and 4th, or 4th and 5th, the event that they're doing for St. Patrick's Day downtown, where it's going to be 2 days of music. Yep. And I just think it's going to be wonderful.
Fantastic. I saw the Rolling Stones in 1980 when they were just starting I think it was their Some Girls tour, but they started at the Hartford Civic Center in Connecticut.
Oh, wow.
And my high school was a boarding school up in Litchfield County. The gym had the same acoustics as the Hartford Civic Center, so they did their sound check for a week before, and we were allowed to go watch them, but we couldn't talk to them. But it was this really tiny little gym, like single basketball court sized gym, and there was just like 20 of us on campus, and we're like drooling watching the Rolling Stones go. It was amazing.
Well, I think Mick Jagger is as entertaining now as he was then. I mean, he blew me out of the water all over that stage, all over. It was great. It was great.
Right up there with Springsteen.
Well, Bruce Springsteen is definitely one of my favorites, yeah.
He doesn't stop. You've never heard of a 2-hour Bruce Springsteen show?
No, you haven't.
Or a Paul McCartney, actually, for that matter.
I haven't been to a Paul McCartney concert.
There's a bucket list for you.
Okay, I'll add it.
we got way off track there, but I'll tell you, Anne Arundel Community College is such a wonderful asset to Anne Arundel County and the state of Maryland. And 2/3 of my kids are products of this, and 1/3 of my kids owe their interest in their career to you guys sparking it. Came out of high school and was like, graphic design, criminal justice, law enforcement. Hey, maybe I'll go in the Air Force. I don't know. I'm like, I didn't want to spend the money for a college to have them bail out. I said, go to AACC, find out what jazzes you. Maybe it's economics. I hope not. But, whatever it may be, get some of the basic core things down. You can transfer out. You can do anything. He got the IT bug, and now he's doing cyber for Booz Allen, making probably a lot more money than either you or I. And I just love to hear those stories. And my situation is not unique. And that's why we wanted to come and talk to you, because everybody I talk to that has had somebody come through here, or perhaps even just taken a class for fun, has nothing but good things to say about Anne Arundel Community College. The history, I didn't realize that this school had been around for as long as it has.
60 years, 61 now.
Community colleges have really evolved over the years. It used to be those that couldn't go would go to the community college. Those were maybe they were dumber, maybe they were, whatever it was just not held into any kind of a high esteem. And the community college organization throughout the nation has really sort of flipped that on their ear, because this is just the most incredible launching pad or landing spot for everybody. And I mean, when I first moved down here, Dr. Smith was the president, and I mean, she's here for 20 years. And I looked and I'm like, holy mackerel, Dr. Lindsay's been here for 10 already?
Yeah, I'm in my 11th year.
Do you believe that?
No, it flies. It's an amazing college, and it really is our people that make it amazing. I mean, I have to brag about our faculty and staff. I mean, there's so much to brag about with this college. We were listed as #1 in the nation in 2021 by academic influencers, which I actually thought was a joke. I called downstairs to Dan, and
Did we have to write a check for that?
Well, it's like there was no application. We didn't even know that we were even being reviewed, and it was the first time in the history of academic influencers that they included a community college. Anne Arundel came out #1 first time out of the gate.
That's awesome.
And it wasn't like they interviewed us. I mean, it was the data. It was totally objective. It was their decision who they selected. And I got the notification, and I called Dan, and I'm like, did we apply? How did this happen? And it was totally independent of the college. So it was a really tremendous outside
that must have made for a great Monday for you when you.
It's made for a great couple of years. I mean, I love this place. I enjoy the work. I really believe in our mission. I've been in community colleges for 30 years. I'm a therapist by training. And one of the things that I wanted to do was find a career, and I never thought it was going to be teaching. My dad was a teacher. I did not think I was going to go into teaching. But when I realized how much education can empower people and move people's lives and make a difference, I just decided this is where I wanted to be. So I started teaching adjunct here locally in Maryland. I was at Dundalk. Actually, Marty was still the president at Dundalk when I was doing part-time work, adjunct work for Dundalk Community College, now part of CCBC. But the campus is beautiful. The people are amazing. One of the things that I have a lot of pride in is that we're really values-oriented, and we believe it. Like, we have values in people's evaluations. We have it in the expectations for the college. We believe in respect. We believe in civility. We believe in equity. We believe in access. I mean, we believe in all of these wonderful things, and we're not just talking it, we're walking it. And I think that's the difference.
It really is. And I mean, more businesses and organizations and entities and the world in general probably could use a hell of a lot more than that, more of that in things. But you talked about the campus being beautiful, and you are very convenient for anybody in Anne Arundel County. I mean, yes, you're centrally located here in Arnold.
Right.
That's the main campus, but you've got satellite campuses.
Yes, we do.
You're up in Hanover, you're out in Glen Burnie, and you go into schools, high schools, you go into communities.
You invite us in, we'll be there.
To teach, which is mind-blowing. I mean, you think of college or you think of community college or anything like that, it's like, yeah, I got to drive there or take the bus or figure out how to get there to the central location. But things have really changed. I mean, you guys have really sort of thrown that on its ear, along with, the way you've adapted to the community that we're living in. Mm-hmm. I don't think you've ever forgotten where your community roots are. The too big for the britches type thing and anything else. I look at going way back when. I mean, it seems like ancient history now, but when casinos came in and everyone was like, oh, no casinos, yes casino, all that big battle, who was the first one to step up and say, well, crap, they're going to need to hire people, so we better figure out how to train them. I mean, yes, they've got their individual corporate training, but you developed a curriculum for casino management that didn't exist 2 years prior.
Right. Well, first off, I didn't do it. We did it as a whole. I mean, it was a very collective process, and it was Maryland Live that actually was sharing with us that they have tremendous organizational needs for trained dealers, and they didn't have the capacity with which to do it. So our first cohort was at Marley Station. That was our first training area, was the Marley Station Mall. And then obviously things progressed and things moved, and the relationship developed very, very closely. And for us, it really wasn't a matter, I should say for me, but it was the college and the board that was obviously behind this as well. We were concerned about making sure that we were meeting demands of the county, which is our job as a community college. similar but very different. We can talk later maybe about the Clausen Center and how we've raised money for other buildings. But there was a need for dealers. And it was actually fun because I would go up to Maryland Live and sit at a blackjack table or something. And I'm not even a big gambler, but I wanted to see our students in action. And the students didn't know it was me.
Okay.
So I would say, hey, where did you learn where did you learn it? I mean, like if I was interested in this, was it good field, bad field, whatever? And I would do my own kind of undercover boss, I guess, going into looking to see how things happened and what happened. And it was amazing because part of being a good dealer is being able to connect and have a personality to want to keep people at the table.
Sure.
And
tipping.
Helping them win. I mean, you're going to help them win.
Right.
And so the casino, we did the training, obviously, but then there was the whole part where they had to go through a final interview and a final test, which was showing Maryland Live executives who were going to be doing hiring, if they were the right people to be hired by the casino. So as the casino grew, the needs grew, they gave us an incredibly generous scholarship just this year for X amount of dollars for 10 years. Which is going to be going to their scholarships. So they are funding their scholarships. They're partnering with the community college. They've opened their doors to us. We do our graduation ceremonies up there now.
So, as to the public schools, for most of them. So
But we started actually before the public schools, just because I guess there was more fluidity or whatever. But they make it beautiful. They know how to host. They know how to entertain. They know how to make people feel comfortable. So having the opportunity to bring such a huge celebration for our students to a venue like that was amazing. And we did get some pushback, even from people who were like, oh, well, we have to walk through the casino. Nope, there's a whole separate entrance to the hotel section and the spa, salon, restaurant areas that the Maryland Live offers. So the training was fun. Participating in some of those interviews was fun. Watching the success of these students. In fact, my proud bias, but it's good and it's bad. Our dealers are so good, they get stolen from other casinos. So Maryland Live is continually to invest in a new marketplace for
so
dealers.
You're truly a pipeline.
We are.
That goes through and they're, if somebody moves, I mean, they've got the qualifications, the chops to work in Philadelphia or Vegas or Atlantic City or wherever else has a casino. That's awesome. I wonder how many, I may call up there and see if I can find out how many current dealers are graduates of AACC's program.
Oh, I have no idea, but
it's probably significant.
It's probably the majority.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, you guys are known for other programs. Obviously, that's one that's here locally.
Right.
Internationally, or not internationally, but nationally anyhow, known nursing. I know several people that have gone through here either that are nurses or EMTs, and they're that's another huge aspect of what you're churning out here. And then certainly, as casino dealers are needed, we all hear all the shortages of nursing and healthcare that Anne Arundel County, I did it, Anne Arundel Community College is going to fill that need.
You can't see it from where you're sitting, but there's a 175,000 square foot health and life sciences building that we just opened about a year ago. $116 million building. And we moved all of our health and life sciences programs in there, the sciences that support prerequisites, so like chemistry and biology, in addition to nursing and EMT and paramedic. Our nursing program and our healthcare programs as a whole are award-winning. Our nursing program pass rates are incredible. Very, very high. Some of our classes have been at 100% of the people and the nurses that are taking these exams. So, yeah, we are. We're known for business. We're known for entrepreneurial studies. We're known for our criminology program. I would say our health and life sciences programs are probably one of our biggest draws. And that is a variety of ages. It's a pretty significant span of students.
I know you talked about entrepreneurship, and I know 3 people that have established businesses off of the Shark Tankish that you guys present there. I mean, you've got Jeremiah.
Have you been there? Have you ever been to our Shark Tank?
No, I've not seen the full thing, but
so
I mean,
great.
Jeremiah Batican, who has Peak Social, and I'm drawing a blank on the man that's got the food truck that's expanding out there. And there's another guy that's looking to open up a gay bar, and he's done a couple of gay pop-ups and stuff like that. And I've looked at some of his stuff, and I know he's won a couple of years, and that's a need that is going to be met. And I know he's going to be at the front of it, just making that explode.
This is unusual. When I came here to learn that we had a nursery and a hatchery for businesses and for business owners and for people that are wanting to get into business, to have a lot of support around their project and their scope of where they wanted to go. We don't call it Shark Tank, but I call it Shark Tank too. I love attending it. I mean, you see these incredible people with incredible plans and desires and success, and they present to local business owners who are looking for expertise and know how to, I guess, kind of pull out a successful entrepreneur. But these students are winning seed money with which to start their businesses, and then you do see them around the county and over the bridge.
It's neat. It's very neat. And again, Breathe, I'll back up a little bit. You mentioned about Maryland Live and the scholarships, or and I know that I was just talking to Ray Crosby a couple of weeks ago, and they recently established a scholarship program for marketing, where they're drawing from here. And I mean, it's a win-win, because you're able to get money, you're able to get people that are interested in this enrolled in the program, getting educated. He's getting, interns that are learning the business. They're able to see what they can. Hopefully, he's got a pipe, so you're getting the pipeline, he's getting the pipeline. It's fantastic.
We work very collaboratively with the community. I mean, I believe we're here to serve and educate the community, as does, I think, this whole campus, really wanting to make sure that people get their needs met when they come in. So, yes, that's another one of the great programs that we've got. We've got a couple other areas where we've got people that are partnering with us. But one of the things about being involved with a community college, our mission is really pretty altruistic. It's about helping people get where they want to go, empowering people through education, making sure that they're getting, the education that they need to move forward. But what we do as a business is really not controversial at all, because we are here to support and collaborate and build this community. I call our college the workforce engine for this community. I mean, we train in a lot of areas. If you as a business owner decide that your population, your employees need certain types of training, we do custom contract training for businesses in addition to training students here on campus for tuition and things like that.
Really?
So we've been doing it for a long time. It's through our contract ed, and it's a great resource for people, because we can really help them, get the workforce that they need and help them move forward. I'm surprised that you don't know about it. I'm glad I'm sharing something that you haven't heard of. That's great.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Well, I mean, another thing that I haven't heard of, and I mean, you answered the call when the casinos moved in, and come July, the weeds moving in. Are you guys going to get into the weeds, so to speak?
No pun intended. We've actually had curriculum for business. It's through our entrepreneurial studies program, and one of our professors, Shad Ewart, has been the real pioneer behind this. But one of the things that Shad first approached me with when he was expressing his desire to bring this curriculum in, one, I said, we have to make sure that we're not violating any regulations and any laws, because I don't want to have those problems. Yeah, the devil's always in the details, right? But he did an amazing job of supporting the work that we needed to do. And he talked about the axes and the picks and the jeans that people needed and the clothing when the gold mine industry was there. So he really initially started focusing a lot on the foundational needs of our students that would be coming through this curriculum. So yes, we have training in this particular area. It's a very popular program, needless to say, usually filled up, I think, with a waiting list to get in. But Shad really has done a lot of work to provide, yet again, another business opportunity, another business need for people to be involved in. What is it? What do you need to grow? How do you take care of these plants? There's just so much detail that goes into it.
I think that very much similar to the casinos. And before we had started recording, you had mentioned that, when the casino opened up, it was a big room with slot machines. Okay, and then all of a sudden tables came in. Now we needed dealers, and then it was like, oh, we've got a lot of carpet, and we need to worry about housekeeping, and they want to drink when they're gambling, so we need to worry about hospitality, and they built the hotel, and there's so many other micro industries that are supporting and propping up one another in the casino world up there in Hanover, and you answered the call for that, and I see that very similar here in the marijuana legislation. Yes, there are dispensaries, but that's just what we see on the surface. But it's like the iceberg, because you don't know what is supporting that underneath. There's packaging. There's marketing. There's growing. There's distributing. There's and there's going to be a whole lot of changes now that it's going to become recreationally legal as opposed to just medicinally. And I think it's fantastic that Anne Arundel Community College is prepared to answer that call?
Well, there's a need, right? There's a workforce need. And again, that tends to be how we develop programs and expand the college's offerings.
Right. And the other thing I do like about here is that with the non-credit stuff that you've got too as well, and that's sort of goes into the lifelong learners. And I was talking to Pete Nesbitt, who's the new director at St. John's Mitchell Art Gallery, Mitchell Art Museum. They're changing their names. And we were discussing about how St. John's College is such a different college, as well as the Naval Academy. And we said that those students are there not because it was like their second or third choice, or even, they're there because they want to be there. And I find that, certainly in the non-credit realm of Anne Arundel Community College, but also even in the regular 2-year programs and the certification programs that you offer, these are the kids that want to be here. This is, if they're getting the pressure to go to college from home and, must go to college, which I disagree with, that's not necessarily the route for everybody. They're going to be in a 4-year college and miserable. These kids here, I say kids, and I guess are they kids? Or not really?
They're adults when they're here. I mean, we are.
Well, that's true, but it's what is the average age range of the student that's here at Anne Arundel Community College?
26.
Wow,
26-year-old part-time female. That's our typical student. That's our average student, I should say.
Wow.
So about 20 to 21% of our overall population of students is in that 18 to 22-year-old range, so coming out of high school. Now, a lot's going to change because of new legislation that went through with the Maryland Blueprint. And the short story behind it is the responsibility, the opportunities for students that are high school students to take community college courses with their local community college, so there's 16 community colleges in Maryland, and have their tuition and their books and everything paid for. We actually wrote return checks to some of the students that had paid tuition for spring, or for fall, maybe it was. That would qualify, that we, that's part of our ethics too. I mean, we looked at that and decided that we needed to do something different. But the Maryland Blueprint is interesting because it's talking about a whole nother collaboration, but just kind of going back to St. John's, this might surprise you, but it's interesting how this community connects. And about, I think it's 2 or 3 weeks from now, and it won't be the first time we've done this, but the president from St. John's, the Naval Academy superintendent, the mayor of Annapolis, and myself get together for dinner and talk about partnerships between the 4 of us at that higher level with St. John's. What can they do? What can the Naval Academy do? What can we do to support them? How can they support us? And so when you've got leaders within a community connecting and creating these puzzles and filling in these pieces, it's pretty powerful.
It really is. And I had a conversation with Nora Demleitner when, a couple months ago when she came in and she was working with Vice Admiral Buck and how they can work together, and the collaborations are increasing. And that's thrilling to see that they brought AACC as well as the city into the mix.
We've been working with liberal arts curriculum with them for well over a year. So the other thing about the community and the leaders in this community is I find that once people agree to follow through on something, they do it. And I think it provides a lot of credibility for the leadership. I think Anne Arundel County as a whole has tremendous people in leadership that really believe in collaboration and working together. And our success is really based on a lot of these successful partnerships that we have throughout the county, throughout the state, and quite frankly, throughout the nation.
Yeah, well, that's probably one of the reasons why you woke up that Monday morning and they said, hey, they're number 1.
Yeah, so wonderful.
the only community college listed in it. And I mean, it is such a good value. Absent any kind of aid or assistance, and there is a gazillion ways to come here with not writing a big check. Even if you do come here, having to write the full check, it's not that big.
It's about $4,000, for full-time.
But the value goes along with that is incredible. I know that we worked with MHEC before, and all the ways that, there are so many ways to reduce that bill. And if you are looking to go to college, AACC is a huge, huge first step. As I said, my son is making, gazillions of dollars, and that's where it was because he had no idea what he wanted to do. And AACC turned around and pointed him in that direction. He had to find it, of course, but it was that was it. But one thing that people don't know too much about is like the delegate and the senatorial scholarships. They're pretty much for the asking. They got walking around money to give away to students in Anne Arundel County, or actually throughout the state. And Some of them are an application and an essay, and some are just hey, what do you think? And it's just one, you sit there and you look, and there's so many ways to do it, and the value that you get out of AACC. And my daughter has actually 2 degrees out of here, as well as a bachelor's degree when she when she transferred out and went into a 4-year school. And don't ever get dissuaded by cost. I was always brought up with the kids, oh my gosh, how are you going to afford college for 3 kids? First of all, that's the assumption that all 3 kids are going to go to college. But secondly, I'm not going to say it wasn't a struggle, but there are ways. If you look for it, you'll figure it out. And I think that's the biggest misnomer I'm finding of raising kids, is people put this fear of, the God into you that you can't afford college, especially if your kids are tightly, And I'm like, no, you can. There's plenty of, use a Mr. Rogers term, but look for the good people. There are plenty of good people in this world, whether they're setting up scholarships, whether they're setting up, like Crosby or Maryland Live, or just benefactors within the community that want to see the community grow and thrive to be able to do it.
Yeah, and I have to shout out too to our foundation, because we have an amazing foundation for the college. First time ever, they raised money for a Capitol building for us, and that was a building that was being built about the same time as the Health and Life Sciences building, and that's our Skilled Trade Center, the Clausen Center for Innovation. And we couldn't obviously go back to the county after we had this agreement they funded, the half of the Health and Life Sciences building, about the other half from the state. We have to go through our colleagues. So we knew that we weren't going to get any money out of this direction. But it was interesting. This group of very dedicated people got together and said, we need skilled trades. We can't find skilled trade workers. We can't find plumbers. We can't find HVAC people, find carpentry. There are 6 different programs that we ended up selecting to put into the Clausen Center. But we actually had the building named by one of our donors, Jim and Janet Clausen. Significant donor, got their name on the building for their support. But we built that through our foundation, so the work of our foundation board and their contacts, to get the $5 million that we needed to get that program up and running. And now we're offering classes and we're partnering with various areas. But students can come who might not even be interested in a 4-year or a transfer or a certificate, but knowing that there's great money to be made in the skilled trades, knowing that there's employers out there that have come to us saying, we will hire these people as soon as you get them through the program, because we need replacement people that quickly. And we're really helping them in that direction too. So kind of like looking at the community again, bridging things. So that's a whole nother bridge that we made, was this need for skilled trades. They came to us, we went to them, we talked collaboratively about what we could do, talked about what we need, and we made it happen. So when we came back from COVID, that's a whole nother issue because we're working differently, but
Sure.
When we came back, we had a beautiful Health and Life Sciences building and the Clausen Center around the same time, not exactly the same time, but around the same time, opening their doors for our students. Both buildings are amazing. Both buildings are providing a need, and both of them were generated based on the community saying that there's something that they needed us to help them with.
Again, answering the needs of the community. How does the foundation work with you? You are in charge of the education portion of this.
Correct.
And you have a board that...
I have a board of trustees. It's 8 members. They're selected by their senators, and one of them is a student from our college that we always have a student trustee. And what's amazing is this is a student trustee who has the same voting power, the same rights and responsibilities as one of the regular board of trustees
awesome.
members. It is awesome. And when I meet the student, I say, look, literally, you're going to be doing my evaluation. You're going to be part of my compensation. You're going to be part of everything that I do.
Come on out, let's go drink.
No, but it's amazing. And I think, again, it really, and I didn't create this. I inherited this student who was a full trustee. But what an amazing way to say to our students, we care. We want to hear what our students need. We want to make sure that our students have a voice. So the students have a tremendous voice because they have a voice that not only evaluates me, but literally sits with the board at all of their meetings, votes with their curriculum, has questions about things that we're doing. Why are we doing, gaming? Why are we doing?
Slam their fist down, stand up, and yell about it.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
It's the college is so complicated. So to go back to your question, the foundation is a independent, private, for-profit. They help us raise money.
And that's their only job, right, is to raise money to support Anne Arundel Community College?
Yeah, they were doing a lot with scholarships, and they still are. But like I said, the foundation board, Hank Libby, a lot of people in town know Hank Libby, when he was chair of the foundation board, really started moving this idea of a trade center and helping our students, that our non-traditional students get where they want to go as well. But I think their most recent and certainly huge testimony to the work that they've put into this is the fact that we have a building that we would not have had, and we have never in the history of this college raised money to build a building.
Really?
Never used philanthropy to put a capital project on our
How do you build your buildings? How do you build your buildings? Begging from the state?
Well, there's a formula. There's 16 community colleges, obviously. We work very collaboratively together, too, because we realize there's a tremendous benefit of working together.
Oh, certainly.
So we meet on a monthly basis. I mean, we're very close. And quite frankly, I recommend any of the community colleges in Maryland, because people can feel safe and they know that they're going to get a really good education, moving in that direction. But for the foundation to say, we're going to build this building for you, and then we went out fundraising. And I actually find fundraising fun, because we don't harass people. We don't cold call people. We know that there's people in the county and in the community that are philanthropic. And people who are philanthropic want to give to something that they know is going to be a good investment, and it's going to be a return on their investment, and it's going to be reputable, and there aren't going to be issues. And they came forward to build the building, raise the money, get the donors. It was magical.
And you can't think of a better return on the investment in the future.
Truly, and again, knowing that the money that you're putting forward is actually going to be benefiting somebody. So, if you're a betting person, we're a good risk, because we're hardly any risk. And again, we're all about promoting our students and the needs of this community, getting the workforce up and running, being fluid, being flexible, appreciating and understanding that what makes us that way, because we are such direct to student, faculty, student, support services to student, it's really our faculty and staff that make this college what it is. So it's important to me that we're competitively paying people, that the compensation is good, that we can not only recruit people, but we can retain people. And these are all the things that we continue to work on an annual basis when we put our budget together and when we work with the county. Our funding is about a third county, a third state, and a third student tuition.
Okay. All right. And that is ultimately what's going to have to build, absent the foundation, that's what built the campuses.
Well, it's different because we have capital money. So the money that I was just talking about goes into the instruction. It's operational. Yeah. But we do have capital money as well that comes from the county and the state,
and investments in the whole 9 yards to figure out how to do it.
We just have superstars. I mean, it's a fun place to work. I mean, I enjoy my job. Everybody who interacts with me for 2 seconds and I start talking about this college can hear my passion, because I believe in what we do. And it's funny because my son, who's 34, and was in California with me, part of the funny story is now that we were moving out here, he says, okay, now do I get to stop being your poster child for why community colleges are the best? I'm like, no. I'm going to continue to tell the stories. Because I sent my son to a community college, and I was a college president. Now, I knew of a lot of wonderful schools, but I knew the benefit of coming to a community college, which my parents didn't know back in the 70s when I graduated from high school. So you don't have teaching assistants with us. You have actual faculty who are the discipline experts. We have wraparound services, so we really do everything we can to help students with tutorials, with scholarship money, with supplemental instruction, students that have some type of a disability that we can accommodate and help them get where they need to go. In 2015, we've always talked about diversity and equity being important, but we started looking at completion numbers as opposed to access numbers. And I went to the board in 2015 and I said, I'd really like to support the campus is bringing forward a new strategic plan. We want to focus on completion, and we want to make sure that everybody gets through the door, not just in the door. And that, since 2015, has continued to build our strategic plan. It's not a document that sits on the shelf. We budget to it. We hire based on it. We look at the trends. We look at where we've got equity gaps. I'm a big believer in professional development for faculty and staff. Most colleges, when money starts getting slim, the first thing to get cut is professional development. Sure. We didn't touch it. And the reason we didn't touch it is my belief is when the times are tough is when people actually need the support of additional references and additional education and understanding. So The school's amazing. It wouldn't be what it is. It would just be buildings if it wasn't for the people that fill the buildings.
No, I absolutely agree. Well, I'll tell you, as we start to wrap up here, and I'm sizing up the windows, not looking to get new curtains or anything like that, but as you're looking to move on, and I mean, whether that be another 10, 20, 30 years, whatever it is, maybe they're going to be pulling you out of here in a box. What is your vision for the future? What do you look to have leaving as a legacy for when they say, gosh, when Dr. Lindsay was here, ...
There's quite a few things I would be proud of. But I think one of the things that's probably the simplest in concept is that we have a college where people get what they want, but they feel that they belong with us. So that sense of anybody who comes here, we meet them where they are, we help them get where they want to go. We have more people that are completing and continue to focus in that direction. But I want this community to know that I believe that this college is here to serve this community. So the word belonging is more relevant to me than just access. So I want whoever walks on this campus to feel that this is their campus. They belong here, and we are here to educate them and get where they want to go.
They're a Riverhawk.
They're a Riverhawk.
What would be the most surprising thing to learn about AACC to somebody that doesn't know about it too much?
Our success. I'm talking academically, I'm talking in a lot of different directions, but I don't think people know that not everybody knows that they've got this gem right here in this community that's a nationally known community college, nationally recognized. You take classes from us, they transfer to the four-year colleges, so we've done the articulation work for you. You know that the education that you're getting is comparable to the education that you're going to be getting at the four-year college, if that's the option that you choose to move into, because we've already done the work on creating the pathways. Now we're building the pathways with the high school so that we're bringing people in more in that direction. We're continuing with skilled trades, with other programs that need to become in things that we might not even know that we're going to be needing in X amount of years forward.
Sure.
But I don't know that everybody knows what they can get with us. So I appreciate actually having the opportunity to talk with somebody like you with a podcast like this, because our doors are open. I lovingly say we take the top 100% of our applicants. And what that means is we don't turn people down. We don't have an admission process where we don't even look at SATs. If you want to come to college, if you want to take a class here, you can come to us. So totally open door, totally student-centric, all about completion, all about retention, all about hiring the best faculty and staff, making sure that we maintain our quality. We're known for innovation, and we are known to be a bit experimental, because if you're not innovative, you're not going to be innovative if you're afraid of making a mistake. So I shared with the faculty early on in my tenure that, my dad was a chemistry teacher. He said to me when we were doing chemistry experiments at the house, like making rock candy and stuff like that. Yeah. That an experiment that doesn't work is just as valuable as one that does. And so making mistakes is the way you move ahead, is my interpretation of that. So, when Shad brings these ideas, or when Rob Norton contacts us, or once somebody in the skilled trade says, I need help, or a foundation person says, I have somebody that I want you to meet who's a donor, it's really all about that connection.
It is. I mean, and that's a life lesson. I mean, you've got, mistakes are great. Mm-hmm. Just make sure you take something away from it when you do.
Yeah, and don't repeat it. Don't repeat the same mistake. Right. But you can make more. Yeah.
I'm not dead yet. I'm sure there's a long list of things to do there. You talked about SATs, and I know that's a big thing in most colleges now, where SATs are becoming optional. And again, as AACC does, I mean, you meet the student where they are and allow them to do that. And the SATs, I mean, my daughter, the one that didn't come through here, she took all the AP classes and everything else, never scored higher than a 2 on all of the AP exams, but got straight A's in all the AP classes. Her SATs were totally non-reflective of who she was, and she applied to a school that was SAT optional. And I'm like, being the old guy that I am, I'm going, how is that possible? How do they do that? And without knowing, but again, it's the same thing. It's finding out where the students' strengths are, finding out how they can succeed. Because the way I succeed here is totally different from the way that you succeed here, and is totally different from how anybody else does succeed here. And that's the beauty of Anne Arundel Community College, is to be able to take anybody on whatever level with whatever capacity and they've got the opportunity to succeed here.
Well, and this blueprint that's being rolled out, that's gone through the legislation, it's really about increasing dual enrollment. It's removing barriers of finance accessibility from the perspective of, we have, I don't know if you've ever talked with, you probably have Pam Brown, who does the report about poverty amongst planning.
Poverty amongst planning. I've not spoken, I know her, but I've not spoken with her on the podcast.
Amazing research about the pockets of poverty and the pockets of affluence that are in Anne Arundel County, and the students that are in need, and students that are hungry, they're homeless. We have a food pantry here for our students. We actually, our staff and anybody can use it. It's if you're an employee or if you're a student. And we try to keep that stocked because we know that people are hungry. When we went into the whole COVID situation, we had students that didn't have computers. They didn't have wire and internet access at their homes. We had to meet and adjust all of those needs so those students didn't get lost as a result of an equity issue.
Sure. And once you go down, you run the risk of, continuing to spiral down once you get into a situation. So you do need to have, I don't want to call it a safety net, but just have, somebody there that's on your side that's cheering for you. Well,
and you can come to our parking lot and use the Wi-Fi as a student. I mean, the buildings were shut down during COVID. I mean, you talk about a learning lesson that we had. And now post kind of moving through, I don't know, it's good to say post, but moving through the whole, COVID issue, it's really changed our workforce's expectations as well as our students' expectations. So, flexible schedules. People are looking for flexible schedules. Our students are looking for flexible schedules. Being fully online or fully face-to-face, those discussions as far as not everybody wants to be face-to-face, yet we lost a huge chunk of our face-to-face students when March 13th of 2020, we had to shut the college down because it wasn't safe to bring people back.
Yeah, it's, COVID taught us an awful lot of lessons. And that sort of goes to the different ways of learning. And I know that the public schools, after COVID, quote unquote, they said, well, we need to have an online curriculum because there were some kids that were absolutely struggling getting through that face-to-face with Mrs. So-and-so or Mr. So-and-so. But boy, when you threw that online, they were just like, boom, taking off like a rocket star. But,
and online learning isn't for everybody. There's people that aren't as successful. They need that face-to-face. And so we've expanded. We have hybrid. We have synchronous learning. We have asynchronous learning. So, students can have the best of both worlds. And it multiplies into like 5 or 6 different kind of pedagogical approaches that we're interacting with our students. But, we're also working on meeting student demand. And I'm really proud of the work that happened here in learning and through the student services programs. As we were working on scheduling for this semester and moving even into next fall, rather than predetermining what we thought our students were going to need, we waited for them as they enrolled. And as we saw this area moving up higher, we added to this. So it wasn't...
And didn't build on...
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so true definition of equity, right? Getting people what they need when they need it and where they need it.
Absolutely. Well, aacc.edu is a good place to start. I might argue that a better place to start would be just head a little bit north on Ritchie Highway from Annapolis or south from the Severna Park, Glen Burnie area and come walk around the campus. It's a beautiful campus. You would be surprised at what Anne Arundel Community College does have. What other better ways? I mean, are there campus tours? I mean,
yes.
I'm not looking for just strangers just to come and get a tour, but I mean, obviously students.
The campus is open. I mean, so if somebody across the street wants to do Chick-fil-A, they can come to our Health and Life Sciences building, and we have a full-service Chick-fil-A over there. So
good to know.
Yeah, the library is open to the community. I mean, so the campus we're not a locked out campus. This is an open access campus. That's another thing. So, people can come and go. The community can utilize our resources, can use our tracks, can walk around our campus. I frequently see people with their dogs or people running or people over at Chick-fil-A, people using the library, whether they're student or non-student. So the college is to the benefit of the community.
Well, I do encourage everybody that's listening, get to know this institution. It's a bad word, institution. That's this place of higher learning, this place of bringing people up, and you're going to be surprised. There's going to be a lot that you didn't know. Next time you get that teal green book in the mail, if you're not interested in it, don't toss it. I encourage you to flip through it and see that's the non-credit courses that are offered. And maybe you want to learn how to use that camera you got for Christmas.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody sent you an Excel spreadsheet and you can't figure out what the heck it
Or somebody gave you a drone. We do training. We have classes in drones. So it's very the campus is so dynamic because it's just so different, and it has so many opportunities and so many options for people. And, when we talk about educating this community, we mean the whole community. I mean, we have, all kinds of ages, all kinds of programs. We've got credit, we've got non-credit, we've got contract education, we've got workforce development, we've got transfer, we've got AA, we have certificate, we have lifelong learning. We are here to serve this community.
And any number of ways. Mm-hmm. Dr. Lindsay, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you inviting me into your AACC
my
teal
humble
office.
abode. Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Your teal office.
So this is interesting. You see these 3 things sitting here?
I am looking.
Any idea what they could be?
They look like they might be the tops of a base for a light pole in a parking lot.
Well, you're close. So this is one of our faculty members who has since retired, but I was at a gallery and I saw that, and it's called Three Moons, and it's the bottom of the kilns, the ceramic kilns, where the paint and stuff drips off.
Oh.
He actually told me I could put it in my office and keep it. He brought it over here because I had just admired his work so much.
So those are like kiln material.
Yeah, that's the base of the kilns.
So you probably had to reinforce that wall to get those 3 hanging on.
No, they're not. Yeah, it was just the paint. I think they're not heavy, but
that's very neat.
The office is reflective of hope and connections and people, my family and my dogs, and I mean it's really about staying grounded.
Whoa, dog! What kind of dog?
I have 2 border collies, and you don't want me to start talking about those 2 because I will go nonstop. I love my border collies.
I think the border collies might have slightly less energy than you.
It's funny. We were laughing because border collies are like they have the intelligence of like a 5-year-old. Like they have a vocabulary. So they're smart. Like if my husband and I are watching TV and, we say outside, they both just pop up, or they look at us and they've got to go out. One dog's on medication. He knows where the pill station is. He knows he gets it after he gets his breakfast because he has to have the pill first or the breakfast first.
Right.
They are so smart, but such good company, and they are challenging, but I'm a dog lover all the way.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's Local Business Spotlight. Please make sure to visit eyeonannapolis.net for all your local news, events, and opinion. And in case you haven't already, please subscribe to the Eye on Annapolis Daily News Brief, where we bring you all the day's local news direct to your phone, tablet, or computer in about 10 minutes. It comes to you at 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday, and you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.